Welcome to my world. I'm your host, Kevin Rutherford. It is Monday, September 11th. We are here live. It is a free-for-all today. Anything goes. Phone lines are open. Jump in and join me. I've got a lot I could talk about today. Nothing all that important, so I'd rather hear from you. If you've got a question, a comment, a topic, anything you want to talk about today, pick up the phone and join me. Otherwise, I'll be rambling this morning. 855-950-3835. I do have some things I could talk about. Do I want to get into anything too deep? Maybe I'll just recap what happened on the weekend. Wait for some calls. I've got some things. We'll see. There's a lot going on here. My schedule for the fall has just completely changed in the last week, and things are just getting a little crazy. So I took Friday off. I will probably be taking a lot of 3-day weekends between now and the end of the year. Just a lot going on. I'm going to need some extra time to get some things done. We've got our big trip coming up here pretty quick to Nashville for the NASTC conference. Really looking forward to that. I've got to finish my keynote. I don't do a lot of keynotes, and I really need to write a good one. So I've been working on that keynote. I've got to get that finished. It looks like the property's going through. We're supposed to close in less than 2 weeks, about 10 days, I think. We're closing. Is that right? Yeah, the 21st. 10 days. That's a lot, obviously. Closing down 2 gardens for the year, and I have to get another one planted over there. So I spent most of the weekend getting ready to move. I decided to convert the grow house back to a trailer again because it will come in handy in this move. You can get a lot in there. It's a 24-foot enclosed car hauler, but I basically had to rebuild that thing over the weekend. It was in pretty rough shape. It's not that old of a trailer. I'm thinking maybe it's 7 or 8 years. We bought it in a hurry. We were getting ready to go to a CMC that year, and I was trying to load our old trailer, and there was just no way everything was going to fit. So we had to go buy a new trailer, and we decided, well, we might as well buy a car hauler. But in a hurry, we didn't have much to pick from, and we ended up with, and I knew it was junk when I bought it. It was Forest River. It was cheap, and everything about it is just cheap. So the first thing that had to go was the front jack, the tongue jack, and I had to cut it off. It was in such bad shape. Tires, they'll do. I wouldn't take them on a long trip. I had to pack the wheel bearings. So then I've never pulled this with anything except the RV, and it came wired with the 7-way RV plug, and everything worked. Well, that's not true. Everything didn't work. That plug should have supplied 12-volt power for inside the trailer. The inside of the trailer has a 12-volt lighting system and a 110. And the 12-volt should work when you're plugged into a vehicle, and it never did. I never bothered to check it because I just didn't need it anyway. So this is the first time I went to pull it with a car that has a 4-pin flat system, like a typical trailer plug, and I plug in the adapter and nothing, no lights whatsoever. So I started troubleshooting that. What a disaster. I can't even begin to describe how bad they wired this thing. You know, trailer wiring is pretty standard. We have standard colors, the 4 blades, pretty simple. It's only 4 wires. The 7 adds a couple, but I can't even begin to describe. There was one wire, the yellow wire, which I think is left turn signal. There was a wire for yellow in the plug. Then there's a junction box, and the yellow wire runs to a connecting clip, and then there's just no yellow wire on the other side of that clip. I don't think it didn't ever exist. There's no yellow wire anywhere in the trailer, which was really confusing. How do you get the left turn signal to work if I don't even have a wire? And there were other wires, but they all looked like they were for the house electrical system, the 110. It was a bigger gauge wire, and they used wire nuts on those. So that could be wired to the 7-way, but shouldn't be wired to the 4-way. So I was getting ready to run a whole new wire harness through the trailer just because the trailer was loaded. There was no way I was going to tear it apart to try to find a problem. And I was getting ready to just run a new wiring harness. And I thought, well, let me try some of these other wires. Sure enough, the red wire that should have been household current 110, it was a big gauge with a wire nut, was wired to the left turn signal. Once I figured that out, everything else went pretty quickly. So I just wired it that way and it's working. I don't know what I'll have to do to get a 7-way to work on there again. We'll have to see. I don't know that I'll ever pull it with the RV, and I don't think I would want to take it on long trips, but should come in handy. The entire garden is loaded up into it right now for the first trip over there. So between that, the events, everything else we've got going on, projects we're wrapping up, stuff we're launching, it's just a busy, busy time. Not complaining, but I was not prepared for all this schedule change. So we'll make that work. I've got a call. One of the other topics I was going to throw out there, I'll throw it out there right now. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I've been talking about the new group that I've had some debates with on Twitter on the Spaces, the NOOA, New Owner Operator Association. They look like they're taking the exact same path we've seen over and over and over, and it never works. It's never worked the entire time I've been in this industry, 30 plus years. All of these attempted protests, shutdowns, strikes, whatever they are. Now, I'm not talking about unions. Unions strike. They do it all the time. They're pretty effective at it. It works for them. That's how that whole system works. They can't negotiate the deal they want. They go on strike, puts more pressure on them. So I'm not talking about union strikes. I'm talking about these protests and shutdowns we've heard forever. If we stop working, people won't be able to eat in 3 days. We'll get whatever we want. Right, you could, except it's never going to happen. But yet, people keep talking about it. They keep trying to organize these things. And I've talked in the past about why they always fail. And it would be very, very difficult to ever get one of these that would be successful. But if you don't even attempt to do it right, there's no way it's going to be successful. And here are the problems. I've outlined them before. There's 2 groups involved with this, the NOOA and some other group. I didn't even recognize them. No clear leader that I can see. And that's the problem. You get this infighting at the top. It happens every time. And there's just no clear leadership. And it takes it's never happened. We don't know exactly what it would take, but it's going to take a very, very strong, clear leader, and I haven't seen that much. The other mistake they make is long list of demands. I would not try more than one thing only. That would be hard enough to accomplish, but they usually have 5 to 10 demands that they want to see changed. Part of the problem with that is each one of those demands would be controlled by different groups or different people. So who are you protesting here? It's never clear. They never even outline who could fix their problem. And they have a bunch of demands. That is a huge mistake. Probably one of the biggest mistakes they make. You know, I asked the question on Twitter, and I knew what the answer was before I asked it. Has there ever been a successful trucking protest or shutdown? And I couldn't think of any. And again, non-union, not union stuff. I couldn't think of any in the U.S. And I asked, in the U.S., has there ever been? And I knew somebody was going to bring up the Canadian convoy, which I actually praised, if you remember. I got canceled over the damn thing because I supported it. It was one of the most successful I've seen. They had good leadership. As far as I can remember, they were only demanding one thing. It was about the mask mandate. Now, it didn't work, unfortunately, but it was the most successful attempt I've seen. We haven't seen anything like that here in the U.S., and I doubt that we will. So here, I went through their list of demands, and here's part of the problem with this. The list of demands are First off, I don't know who would address all of these things. All hours worked, all hours paid. No more free time waiting on the load. Begin detention pay 30 minutes after their appointment time. That's fine. I'm not sure who you're going to get to ever enforce that. And these are owner-operators. All hours worked, all hours paid. That's not how business works. It's obvious that these people should not be in business because they think like employees. All hours worked, all hours paid. I've never had that in business. My God, most of the work I do, there is no direct pay for what I do to keep my business in business and working. Because that's not how business works. At the end of the day, I don't get to say, well, I put in 16 hours today. Somebody's got to pay me, and they've got to pay me overtime after 8 or whatever. If you want that kind of pay, go be an employee. Now, I get it. The employee drivers that have to go to these places get screwed. I get that. That's a whole different issue. It's one of the reasons I don't deal with employee issues. I'm talking about owner-operators. The next demand, pay reflecting our work. No more cheap freight. I'm going to come back to this one because they put some minimums in here. But again, that's not how business works. That's how employees get paid. In business, every day is a new day. You have to go out and earn what you're going to get paid. No more forced driver lumper fees. Yeah, they want to get rid of the lumper system. I can't argue against that. It's a stupid system, but this isn't the way to get that changed. Who's responsible for that? Who could change that system? Sanitary bathroom access. Again, how could you argue against this? But, the industry should take a little bit of responsibility for that one. We're a part of the problem there. This one, I can't even imagine what anybody was thinking when they wrote this. Enact a national grievance process. Allow drivers, brokers, and shippers and receivers to initiate complaints that may be resolved via negotiation. You have got to be kidding me. Anybody with 2 brain cells would realize what a stupid idea this is. Think about the bullshit that drivers bitch about at docks. And then I'm pretty sure that the people on the docks bitch about stupid things with truck drivers too. A national grievance process where a driver, a shipper, a receiver, a carrier, a broker can file a complaint, and then we have to go negotiate the complaint somehow? First off, does anybody realize how big of a system that would have to be? How many shipments move every day? And who's going to, what are we going to have, judges? Is this going to be like arbitration? Is it binding? This might be the most ridiculous idea I've ever heard. I can't believe they put this in writing. Now, let's go back to the pay reflecting our worth. You're only worth the value you bring to the market. People confuse personal worth with the work you bring to a free market. I'm not talking about what any human being is worth as a human being. That's not what we're talking about here. When you want to go do something and get paid for it, you can't say pay. Well, actually, you can. Pay reflecting our worth. We already have a system for that. It's called the free market. You will get paid exactly equal to the value you bring to the market. If you want to get paid more, bring more value to the market. That's how this works. We already have a system. It's foolproof. The people who do the hard work, work smart and hard, get rewarded for it. The more value, how many times have I said this? It is the secret to success in business. If you want to get paid more, bring more value to your customer. But you can't step back and say, I demand to be paid better because I'm worth it. Well, prove it. Bring the value to the market and you'll get paid. But here's what they want for minimums. Listen to this. No more cheap freight. Minimum wage for reefer trucks. Now, this is only for reefers. They're not arguing for anybody else. Including detention and unloading times, they want $5 a mile or $300 an hour. Those are minimums. Or maybe it's just a standard rate. They're not really clear if it's they are saying at least that much. Would there ever be a load that paid more than that? I don't know. Because there have not since 1981, there have been no regulations about charging anybody for trucking services. Trucking is a free market, just like every other industry in the country now. It wasn't prior to 1981. We got rid of that. That was a communistic, socialistic system where government controlled rates. We never, ever want to go back to that. The free market controls the rates, and it works just like every other industry. To think we would want to give the government that kind of control over how we get paid, I just don't even understand the thinking. But the bigger picture here is the amount. Now, $5 an hour and $5 a mile and $300 an hour. Just the average reefer. If all you did was 110,000 miles, most reefers put on a lot more than that. But let's call it 110,000 miles. We're not going to go real big here. And if we throw in their detention rule, which is you start getting paid after a half hour, it would not be hard to see how one single reefer truck with a single driver could make somewhere between $500,000 and $600,000 a year. Now, even if we take off $200,000 for expenses, which there's no way they would be that much, although somebody argued with me that their expenses would be $280,000. I said, wait a minute, I'm only doing 110,000 miles here. That would mean your cost per mile to run your truck was $2.55 a mile. They don't even understand numbers. They just pull them right out of their ass and spew them like they're gospel. They haven't even thought through these numbers. So even if you ran the worst operation ever, got 4 miles to the gallon, had a truck you never took care of, big truck payments, whatever it might be. Pick the worst operation, run around at 85 miles an hour everywhere you go. I mean, make it as bad as you could possibly make it. And if you got this rate, you would still be making well over $300,000 a year. Net profit. That would put you in the top 2 to 3% of earners in the entire country in every industry. Engineers, attorneys, hedge fund managers, all of them. You would be in the top 2 to 3%. Does anybody stop and think about how ridiculous these ideas are? I can't imagine that anybody is ever going to take these groups seriously, and that's why nothing ever comes of all this stuff. All right, we got a list of other things, but I'm going to get to the calls. Let's get started in Wisconsin today. David, welcome to the program.
Hey, Kevin. Haven't talked to you in about 3 or 4 years.
What's on your mind?
Will, I've been out of trucking. Well, I'll just give you a little background about myself. I've been out of trucking for about 4 years now. I've been working 10 gigs and making about $1,000 a week, then less $150 for fuel. So I'm making, net about $850 a week.
What was this work?
Okay.
I didn't understand what you said.
Gig work. I do Lyft,
Got it.
Uber,
Okay, right. Yeah.
DoorDash, Walmart deliveries, everything under the sun.
Yep, got it. Very familiar with all that.
So, $850.
Hey, let me ask you real quick,
that,
since you've kind of, and I know some other people I've talked to, you've sampled a bunch of them. If you had to do only one, which one did you like best, or which one was the most profitable, or maybe both?
Well, that's hard to say because none of the gigs bother me. It doesn't matter to me what I do as long as my tires are turning and I'm making money. So I don't have a favorite, but
okay.
If I guess if you really wanted to nail it down, I guess it would probably be Lyft because I got about 4,800 rides behind my belt over 4 years. And I've only had like 3 bad rides in my 4,800 rides. And that's really, really good.
That is.
So,
yeah. These things are very, very different. If you look at Lyft, that's one thing. If you look at DoorDash, that's another. You're going and picking up prepared food usually and taking it to somebody. And then if you look at like an Instacart, you're a personal shopper. You're going into grocery stores and shopping for things. So we call them all the gig economy. They're pretty different.
Yeah, they're all, and I like each one of them. I have like about 4,500 Instacarts, 4,800 lifts. I just started doing Uber about 2 years ago. It's like about 700 Ubers. I got about 1,500 Walmart delivery. I can go on. I don't want to bore you with that.
No, that's interesting. Now, which one do you think is the most profitable? Were you able to tell?
It was Walmart deliveries for a long time, for about 2 years. It depends on the week and the day and how many hours I put in. But, I was making about 700 to 800 on doing just Walmart deliveries. And then I would double up, like in the town that I live in. I would pick up the Walmarts, turn the DoorDash on, and usually I could find something going that way. It's
right.
$20 or $25 a Walmart delivery can turn into like another $5 or $10 with DoorDash. So doubling up and tripling. Two times I did quadruples, and I made like $80 in a matter of like a half an hour.
Nice. Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen very often. But the reason why I'm so successful at this is because I know you're going to hate to hear this, but I was a lease purchase driver. I learned my lesson, by listening to you. I was a lease purchase driver for a company in Minnesota. I don't want to give the name out, but I had no qualms with them. I mean, I was doing what I wanted to do. I didn't have enough money saved up in order to get my own truck, but eventually that's the direction that I wanted to go. I just didn't know when. But
so let me address that real quick. Let me address that real quick, because I talk about this a lot when people call in. I have no problem with the idea of I'm going to go to a lease purchase and save a bunch of money and buy a truck. I do have a problem with it. Most times the people doing that are not paying attention to their numbers. They're not tracking their numbers. And what I find is they're hurting themselves. If that's their plan to save money, well, my worst case scenario, the one I talk about all the time, the guy was making 13 cents a mile in a lease purchase, and he didn't realize it. He was never going to be able to save money. I can't even believe he was eating. Well, that guy now has his own trucking company with his own authority and his own customers. But he was never,
Nice.
But had he not called, unless he figured this out on his own, he was never going to make it there. We immediately got him to cancel the lease purchase and go get the best driving job he could, making 60-some cents a mile. And then I told him, look, you're going to live on 13 cents. You've been doing it. Just keep doing it. Now you can see how fast the savings would pile up. So that's the only problem I have with the lease purchase. If that's part of the plan to get you to your own truck, great. But if you're not tracking your numbers and you could be doing better just as a company driver, why would you take all this risk and work harder to make less money? And the problem with lease purchases, most people don't know how much they're making.
Yeah. And this company that I was with, they're very popular. They take care of everything for you. But I was I made a lot. I made a decent amount of money with them. I was making, after everything was said and done, every year was over 40 grand, in my pocket. So after paying taxes,
come on. 15 years ago, that was
too bad.
No, it's kind of awful to have that kind of risk. Think about the risk. I mean, you've got taxes you've got to pay out of that. If you have a major repair, that's coming out of your pocket. That is way too much risk to make less than the average company driver. That's my point. That's why. Why would you stick with this with all the extra work, the extra time, which means you don't have as much time to plan your business, and less pay and a ton of risk? Why not just go get a decent company job that pays $60,000 or $70,000 a year, not have to do all the extra work, not have to take the risk, and then you have time to plan to get the business up and running?
Well, my answer to that is this. I loved the freedom to do whatever I wanted to do.
I get that. But hold on. You did not have that in the lease purchase.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I had free reign over everything.
You could modify the truck any way you wanted?
No. The truck was under...
Of course, that's my point. I understand these things. I don't make statements that aren't true. You did not have control over your own business. because the most important part of your business is that truck. It's not yours. You don't control it. You can't modify it. You're stuck with the specs. You're stuck with what they want to get fixed, even though you're paying for it. So don't fool yourself. You had no control. You had control over your dispatch, and that was it.
That was it. Okay, that's what But I love being. I have 14 years total driving experience.
I get that you love the freedom. So listen to everything I've been saying. I want to help people get to that freedom sooner, to where they own their own truck, they own their own business, and usually the lease purchase is not the fast way to get there. It's the long, winding detour with all kinds of problems and challenges and setbacks and risk, and that's my point in all of this. I'd like to get people to where they want to be as quick as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so anyway, after all, I told you about my background and everything. I have about roughly 27,000 in the bank. Okay.
Congratulations.
That's mine. And I was thinking about, because I think the economy is going to take a big dump here really, really, really soon. I don't know for sure, but I'm looking at what the analysts say, and I noticed it in the gigs over the past month. I was making, about $1,000 a week. It's $150 for gas, but now I'm down to like $500 to $600 every week, and I've been doing the same thing.
This is a really good point. I'm glad you're bringing this up. And you have firsthand experience with all of these gig jobs, which really gives us some insight. So everybody thinks the economy has to take a dump at some time. I mean, we just can't continue. This has been the longest run up. We've been saying it for years. There are more and more signs every month, every week. You just brought up another sign. When people start feeling the pinch. Now, there's plenty of work around. There's plenty of jobs. The jobs are paying pretty decent, but inflation is going through the roof. Housing costs are out of control. Energy costs are going back up again. Food costs are insane. People start dropping the extras. Now, I will tell you, I use all of these gig services. The one I only use when I travel, like DoorDash and the food delivery, just because I'm not going to pay a bunch of money to have people bring me garbage food. So we don't eat out all that often. But when I travel, I use it occasionally. Instacart, when I travel, I use a lot. Use it a little bit here at the house, not much. Lyft, I use a lot when I travel. So I'm familiar with these. They're expensive. They just are. I mean, when we think about that, you are very spoiled if you're paying somebody to bring you your groceries, because it's not cheap. You've got the service fee, you've got the tip. There's just all kinds of cost to this. It is very convenient, and I love it. But this is some of the first stuff that people drop when they can't afford food. They should not be paying these crazy high delivery fees when they're struggling with their budget. So it's the extras, the luxury items that go first, and having stuff brought to you as a luxury item. And like you say, people are already cutting back on that.
Yep. So this is what I kind of want to do this the right way this time.
Good.
Tell me.
Wait a minute. Let me go back to that statement. Let me go back to that statement. Words are important. I listen closely. I kind of want to do it the right way. Just kind of.
Well, I want to do it the right way.
Okay, good. Then start saying it that way. Yeah, don't use such wishy-washy language. Like, well, yeah, I think maybe this time I'll try to do it sort of right.
Sorry.
Yeah, just say, look, anyway, look, I can promise you this. There is nothing whatsoever that would stop you from doing it right. So just say, this time I'm going to do it right.
All right, this time I am going to do it the right way.
There we go.
All right, that actually feels better now.
Yes, good.
Okay, so I've already looked into OOIDA, getting my own authority, and they quoted me a price somewhere around $3,000.
Let's not.
Okay.
Let's not get our authority in a market like this. It's too volatile. Look, this is going to come across as harsh. You still have not proven you can run a business. You've made a huge step, and I'll give you kudos for being able to save the amount of money you've saved doing gig work. That tells me you're in a lot better position to do this than you were the last time. But we still, when it comes to a truck, we still haven't proven that. Let's just take a little bit of time, at least 6 months to a year lease to a good carrier, just to get your feet wet, learn how to run the truck really efficiently with expenses only, because the revenue, you're not going to change much if you're leased to a carrier. You can focus on expenses and then move into getting your authority when the market gets better. We could still see a big downturn in rates. And there's so much capacity that this is going to be painful. People who are sort of doing things right are going to be in trouble because we have too many people in the market not doing things right, but they're able to hold on and they keep rates down. There's still a ways to go there. I think it's too risky right now for somebody that still has some risk involved. I think it's too risky to get your own authority right now.
Okay. Would you agree to this then? I was thinking, I don't care about the manufacturer of the truck, but I was thinking about getting a Freightliner or a Volvo or something like that. And with about 700,000 or 800,000 miles, it has a little bit, it depends on how it sounds and what's wrong with it and everything. I'd check it out first. But somewhere in that category, if I could just
perfect.
Make it to like a million,
that's
million miles before it's rebuilt. Yeah. Okay. Good.
And this is why that's the sweet spot for a used truck. About 800,000 miles. You should still, as long as we do the inspections right and we look at oil samples and some of the other things, we could easily expect these new trucks now, and we'd be looking at newer, 700,000 or 800,000 miles. You're probably looking at 16, 17, 18 model year. They're pretty cheap these days. They might get a little cheaper here soon. And we can easily expect another 400,000 miles out of that truck. You've got a good 3 or 4 years before we have to worry about anything big. Now, with a Freightliner, we might have to worry about a one box. And that one's a little tougher to predict. And that one box can be expensive, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 sometimes. So we do have to be a little concerned about a one box on a Freightliner. But again, if we do the right inspections and we know what we're doing, but this is, we can get these trucks now in the $25,000, $30,000 range. And they've got 3 or 4 years of life left on them. And their expenses won't be bad if we buy the right truck. So you're thinking right about the equipment this time.
Okay, cool. It's just, I've been out of trucking for like 4 years now. I can jump in a truck right now and drive anything up to like a 13 speed because I've never driven anything bigger than or larger than a 13 speed. Automatics, 10 speeds, 8 speeds, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I can jump in right now and be very successful. It's the other factor is some companies, a lot of companies are requiring that you have 6 months experience in the past year.
That's very common.
So I'm thinking I might have to go get a company driver position for about 6 or 8 months or whatever, build up enough equity to where I'm better off than I am right now. And then possibly, and hopefully the truck prices will crash by then. And, maybe I can get something really, really good at that time and then kind of do my own thing.
So that is your safest plan. If you're willing to do that, go get the company driver job for 6 months or a year till it feels right. That would be your safest way of doing this, no doubt. I do think if you want to skip that step and just do the hard work of finding the right truck, finding the right carrier, signing on to somebody for, 6 months to a year, you could pull it off either way. The safer way is to get the driving job and get familiar with the industry again. Believe it or not, the industry's changed quite a bit in 4 years, just like everything else in our world. COVID really, changed things, and the market is very different than I've ever seen it. So it might not be a bad idea. Like I said, it would be the safest way. You can't go wrong doing that.
Okay.
If we planned everything and we did everything right, you're probably not going to go wrong getting a truck and leasing on right away either. But you can't go wrong your way. I mean, we have no risk. You go get a job, you're probably making more than you're making now, which means you can increase your savings. And in 6 months to a year of a good company driver job, now you can go buy your first truck cash.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate your opinion. I mean,
so now let's also talk about this. So I'm saying if you want to buy a truck right now, you probably can. The market's in good shape. There's bargains out there. There's work. You could go do that, and then in 6 months to a year, start looking at getting your own authority. Or you could go get a good company driver job, start saving money, get your feet wet in the industry again. And you know what? In 6 months to a year, we could still make the step to your own authority then. Then you'd be able to skip leasing onto a carrier if you want. I just think we need 6 months of not full risk right away. So if you do it this way, you're really not setting yourself back. In fact, you're really setting yourself up to buy that first truck cash and really get started right.
That's okay. Yeah. That sounds like the way that I want to do it then. Or I'll definitely keep you updated.
Yeah. Please
let
do.
you know what
I'd love to
and everything.
help you along the way.
But all right. Cool. All right. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for the call. I love it when people do things right, at least are open to doing things right. I think he's got it this time. I really do. Let's go to Missouri. Let me hit the right button. Jerry, what's on your mind today?
Hi, Kevin. I'm just living a life munching on monkey brittle without pumpkin spice nut butter, but I'll live. I think I'll get along. I got two things on your open, I guess. Number one, I'll start with the humorous part first. As you talk about trailer wiring, I got two comments on that. Number one, years ago, I had to go pick up a part out of state. I had a big passenger van that had the wiring already there at the back and the hitch on it and everything for a trailer plug, and we really needed that part really, really bad. So I got one of my drivers. I give him some cash for a motel and gas, and we in about 5 minutes put a plug on the back of that van, hooked a little flatbed trailer up, and sent him down the road. Well, there's two white wires on a passenger van. One of them's for the turn signal, one of them's for the brake. And every time he turned one of the turn signals on, he was turning the brakes on the trailer on.
Oh boy.
Anyway, that was one thing. And then the other thing is you're completely wasting time wiring that trailer. You need to realize now, Kevin, that you are a farmer. You do not need any trailer lights. All you need on the back of that thing is one of them orange SMV symbol, and get the hell down the road. Don't worry about the lights. Just let the cord dangle. It doesn't matter.
It's funny. I thought about that. I thought, it's like, how many miles is it? It's not that far. It's only 2-lane. I'm like, who needs lights? I'm just going to, I'll even buy a couple like stick-on flashers or something and just put them back there.
Yep.
And I just couldn't do it. I'm like, come on, it's just wiring, 4 wires. How can you not figure this out? And it was making me crazy until I looked at it and thought, something's wrong here. On the 7-way, everything worked. So all the wires that I need are in this trailer. And now the other thing I thought, I've been drilling inside this trailer and I turned it into a grow house. I thought it's highly likely that I ran a screw through a wire bundle somewhere. And I've probably got shorts and dead grounds. So I'm thinking I should just run a new wire harness. And then I thought, wait a minute. All those wires are there. Something must work. And I thought, there's no way they wired this using the 110 wires in the trailer. And I thought, well, maybe there's a way. Why don't I just test it? So I did. And sure enough, there was a big heavy gauge wire with a, wire nut, just like you do on household wiring. And that was what was running the left turn signal.
Well, you figured it out anyway, so. But now you said that, it reminded me of another story. And this about 30 years ago, I had a guy pull into my driveway that had come from completely out of state with a piece of farm equipment, and he needed to unload it. And he'd come out of state across a really narrow bridge with a piece of farm equipment on a trailer, and his taillights were two of those 12-volt lanterns with a red shop towel tied over them. That was his taillights.
That's kind of what I was.
So you see what you can get by with if you're a farmer. You don't need lights.
Does this count for hobby farmers too?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Absolutely. No
Good.
question about it. So you're good. So
All
just
right.
get your couple SMB symbols and you'll be fine.
There we go.
And this is just an amusing. You said something about the NOAA group about pulling figures out of their ass. I watched a little video on, I think it was CDL Life, about some guy lamenting again about ELDs. But anyway, one thing he mentioned in there was, you know what? 2 years ago, before COVID, we had 2 million truck drivers, and today we've got 4 million truck drivers. We've added 2 million new truck drivers in the last 2 years. All of them new, and they don't know how to operate, and we just can't put them out there, and they just don't know what to do.
As far as I know, 3 years ago or whatever he picked, we had about 3 million truck drivers, right in the middle somewhere, depending on how you classify it. And today we have about 3 million truck drivers. Really didn't change all that much. We did get some influx into the industry. We talk about it all the time. That is the problem. Supply and demand. The demand has dropped and the supply hasn't changed. We do have too many drivers and too many trucks. But we didn't add 2 million.
You mean he's wrong?
Not his numbers are a little off.
Oh, it was on the internet. He had to be right.
I know.
So anyway, that's just an amusing, couple of amusing stories. So I got to go. So.
Yeah, can you imagine an owner-operator believing that their cost per mile is $2.55 a mile?
Well, no.
It's not even possible. I could buy the most expensive, worst spec truck ever, drive it as fast as I possibly could everywhere, don't do any maintenance on it at all, and I still couldn't get to $2.55 a mile. It's just not possible.
Well, it might be some really, really specialized high-dollar trailer or something if you had $1 million.
No, we're talking about reefers here. Just reefer freight.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, nothing special.
All right, I got to drop the trailer, Kevin. Need to go. So
get to work. Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks for the call. We've got lines open if you want to jump in. If not, I have no problem taking short days right now. I have lots of stuff I can be doing. But I will stay here as long as there are questions. So jump in, 855-950-3835. Let's go to Wisconsin. Keith, welcome.
Good morning, Kevin.
What's on your mind today?
So I was wondering if you have any thoughts about retirement planning and withdrawal rates for investments.
I have thoughts. Yeah, lots of thoughts. So let's get specific. Give me a scenario here.
Okay, so I'm planning on retiring next spring and have $1.2 million in my 401k.
How old are you?
And I'm 55.
And if you retire, when are you planning on taking Social Security? When do you think you'll need it, if ever?
So I'm planning on waiting until 67.
Okay. The longer we wait, the better we are, usually. In order to know for sure, you'd have to be able to tell me what day you're going to die, and most of us haven't figured that out yet. So it's always a guess, but I plan on living a very long time. I focus on it. So I'm going to push my Social Security out till they make me take it. 67, we want to extend it. So have you run any calculations on how much you're going to get?
So I actually don't really know as much about my Social Security. I guess I have a pension and I have company stock and stuff, so I'm more into the numbers that are real rather than the government money.
No, I get it. I'm glad. I'd like to throw everything in so we know what we're dealing with. So you mentioned a 401k and a pension and company stock?
Correct.
Okay. So let's go through those numbers then. 1.2 in the 401k. How much in company stock?
A little over 800,000.
Whoa. Oh. What company is this?
A window company.
Okay. Here's my first piece of advice. Sell all 800,000 of it, put it in the S&P 500 index fund.
Why is that, Kevin?
I wouldn't want to have that kind of risk exposure on one company ever, and I certainly wouldn't want to have it in an economy like this.
But my problem is after the Great Recession, they changed the rules, and I can take a disbursement, but it takes 5 years to get the money out there, and I'm going to start that next year.
Okay, good. And get that money out of there as aggressively as they will let you. Take every penny you can take every time they'll let you take it. You have way too much risk exposure on that money. Now, the good news is you've got other money, but companies have gone bankrupt. When they do, your $800,000 could be worth zero. It's happened before. Enron was a big one. People had all kinds of money wrapped up in company stock in their profit sharing and retirement accounts, and they got slaughtered. That's just way too much risk. So just start moving that out as aggressively as they will let you. I at this point in your life, I wouldn't want any stock at all. No individual stocks. So move it into an S&P 500. Move it into a money market as savings. I'd feel much better about that right now even. So we're at about $2 million total here. What's your pension payout? When can you start collecting that?
My pension is $1,919, and I start that the day I retire on April Fool's Day next year.
Nice. You have congratulations. You have really set yourself
Thank
up
you.
well. Yeah, you really have. It took a lot of discipline and sacrifice, and you did. What you've done is what almost every American should be able to do. We live in the most prosperous country in the world, and 90% of the people that work their whole life never prepare for retirement. And you have. And congratulations. I love when I see that.
Thanks a lot, Kevin.
I'm not sure how you can go wrong here. You've put yourself in such a good position. Even if we make a couple mistakes, it's not that big of a deal. So the good news is we have plenty of resources here.
I have one more thing.
Sure.
So when I was younger, I got into rental properties too. So I have 2 houses and a duplex I rent out
nice.
also.
So you've got cash flow. I'm assuming they're all cash flow positive.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got cash flow, and those are also assets. At any point, you can decide to sell one of those, or all of them, or whatever. So again, you've set yourself up really well. Is there anything I can answer for you specifically?
So what my question is on how much can I take out and live comfortably and still have money left when I check out? Have enough money until I check out. What
is your annual budget right now? What does it cost you to live your current lifestyle, roughly, a year?
So I'm raising a family of 6 on like around $50,000 net.
Holy cow. So you would almost be able to continue your current lifestyle with Social Security and your pension. Which means...
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, the numbers are pretty close. And I know you got to wait. You're going to be waiting for the Social Security, so we can't count on that right now. But looking forward, you would just about be able to continue your current lifestyle without touching the cash flow from the rentals or any of the assets, and you've got about $2 million to play with. You could, if you wanted to, you could live a $75,000 to $100,000 lifestyle and never worry about running out of money.
That sounds pretty nice.
So if all you want to do is continue, and you said you're raising 6 kids on that, at some point they start dropping off
4
too.
Kids.
4, okay. 6
4
people,
kids.
got it, right.
Okay.
Yeah. At some point, those expenses start going away. So I really... I mean, you're set. I mean, you could actually improve your lifestyle in retirement if you chose to.
That'd be novel thinking.
Yeah. I don't think you can take out, enough to certainly pay your bills and live your current lifestyle right now. And we have a long, long way to go. And the pension's there, the cash flow from the rentals are there. At some point, the Social Security is going to be there. Unless you just got really, really stupid and started spending $200,000 a year, I just don't see that there's any issue here at all.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you, Kevin.
It's nice to have all these options, isn't it?
It is.
Congratulations. That's what happens when you do the hard work.
Okay. Yep. Save until you hurt. That's my motto.
That I love that. I actually use that phrase too. You have to give till it hurts when it comes to retirement. But when you do, this is what you end up with. This is Dave Ramsey's phrase. You have to live like no other now. So I always screw this up. I don't know why I can't remember it. I know the concept. You live like nobody else does now during your earning years, meaning you don't spend all your money, you save, you invest, and then you get to live like nobody else lives because you have the resources and you have unlimited decision making, really. It's a shame more people don't do it. Let's go to Texas. Paul, welcome to the program.
Howdy.
What's on your mind today?
Well, the owner-operator group that wants their grievances and everything aired or, so they can sit down.
Yeah.
The government will create a safe space for them. They'll be fine. So, yeah.
One of the other topics I had, here's some headlines. Convoy reduces freight fraud by 90% across its network. DAT has reported that they've been closing fraudulent accounts. Truckstop.com, I think, has closed over 10,000 fraudulent accounts. So when it comes to this issue of freight fraud, double brokering, freight theft through the load boards, the free market is responding, and we already have solutions that are working. Right now, today, Convoy claims they've reduced it by 90%. That's huge. So
that's a lot. Yeah.
Where's the government on this issue? I think they had a bunch of meetings at one point, and then they did some data gathering, and now they're going to do some more data gathering.
Have to do a survey.
They're going to they have a comment period open
in 10
now.
Years time, they'll,
and
10 years time they'll say the information's out of date. We need to do another survey.
Exactly.
We've heard that before.
This is such a great example of why we need to stop going to the government for solutions. Let's think of something else. Can you imagine this grievance process they're asking for?
Yeah, I don't claim to be the smartest guy around, but I think the average IQ went up when I arrived in this country. So
no doubt. And you helped shift the balance. The biggest problem with this country is our damn entitlement mentality. We think just because we live here, we everything should be fine and we should never have to work hard or have any problems.
And we should make a profit.
Yeah.
If we go into business.
Yeah, but this entire grievance process, my head wants to explode when I think about this. How ridiculous the idea is. But then let's put something else in here. When we complain about the government and all its spending and we're at like $30-some trillion in debt, how do we think we could ever afford any kind of a process like this? Because the only way this can be enforced is through government. And that means government has to spend more money. We have no money left to spend. We have to stop this insanity.
Yeah, more of our money.
Correct. It's all
more
ours.
Of our money they will spend.
Right. Yeah. We're $31 trillion behind. When do we finally start looking at this and saying, we have to stop asking the government to fix stuff? Yes, turn it off.
Yeah. Put down the shovel. Stop digging the hole.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and they want to gross $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
The company I'm leased to, which is an auto transport company, and it's all we do. There was 2 guys last year that grossed over $500,000. I don't know how much they netted. But,
let's make some comparisons though. Because I want people to understand. So car hauling, very different than reefer. Rates are very different. So the number should be higher. But I just drew a total blank on the point I was about to make. It was a good one, too.
I know.
I know. Hold on.
I know him personally.
How many miles did those guys run?
I don't know, but one guy, he's a 38. He runs like a crazy man, and he's very efficient at what he does.
That's my point.
Loading and unloading.
So Matt did over 500,000 last year.
This guy's a 3,800 mile a week.
That was my point. We know Matt broke that number, single truck, single driver, but he did it on 160 some thousand miles. Kudos to working hard. But the calculation I'm using for these guys is run 110,000 miles, and with their numbers, you become one of the highest paid people in our country.
Yeah, and this guy, he probably spent 130 grand in fuel. So, yeah, crazy.
Yeah. I just, I see these groups, and I always have hope. We need a good, and we could use more good owner-operator associations and groups. Companies like Nastic. I'm really excited about our partnership. I tried to start an association once. I failed at it. So I don't want to say you shouldn't do this, but man, you got to do it right. And nobody will take this group seriously. Nobody that understands business could possibly look at this group and take them seriously.
I wonder how OOIDA feel about them.
Believe it or not, one of the officers just this morning tweeted, I have not been interacting at all. I've just been watching and reading. One of them tweeted that OOIDA is really worried because their numbers keep dropping and they're all coming over to their group. That's what they actually tweeted. They believe that they're pulling people away from OOIDA.
Yeah, well, I'm an OOIDA member, but I'm not. I'm probably not. I have some insurance with them, but most of the stuff they do, I disagree with it. I'm on the total other, like some of the silly shit they talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the economy.
Yes.
So I took a full load of Jeep Renegades to a dealer out in Odessa, Texas on the weekend. I get there on Saturday. I think I've been to this dealer before, but a long time ago. And, boy, it sucked going out there. The traffic on Saturday was terrible. At 3 minutes of drive time left when I pulled up in the center turn lane outside the dealership. And I go inside. Where do you want me to put these? How many you got? I said, 10 Renegades. You got 10 Renegades? Yeah, they're all for you. I said, you can run a special. pay full sticker price for a Ram pickup truck, and you get a Renegade for $1. He said, yeah, that ain't going to work either. So,
yeah.
So he's like, you can take him to the Toyota dealer. And I said, well, where's the Toyota dealer? I said, he said, it's just down the road. And I said, give me a clue. I said, I don't come to Odessa. I said, I have no idea where the Toyota dealer. And then the other guy chimes in. He says, it's after 7 o'clock. They'll have the gate shut. And apparently they got a yard full of Ram pickup trucks parked in behind the Toyota dealer as well. So this dealer was loaded up on inventory, but I guess people out in the oil patch, they're not spending their money. Not on cars anyway.
I think a lot of people are starting to really pull back on spending. And the funny thing is, just as we're pulling back on spending, I'm seeing automakers release all kinds of crazy high-end expensive vehicles.
Yeah. Well, if the UAW, if they get their wish later this week, I think it's the 14th, if they get their wish to stop them going on strike, the price of your GM, Ford, or Chrysler product is going to go up. Because
speaking of which, what's going to happen if they do go on strike? That's going to be big.
The brown stuff will hit the fan, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's going to be big if they go on strike. And you're right. I think it's Thursday.
Yeah. Well, the stuff I'm doing, like they just unloaded a boat. I think it's 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, which had over 1,000 vehicles on it. So I still got plenty to choose from down there in Freeport, Texas. So I'll still be busy. But it could affect, because the UAW, they're only in the northern part of the country. They don't. The Southerners told them to piss off. None of the Southern auto assembly stuff is UAW. So it won't. I was going to say it won't really affect me, but if the people up north run out of work, they probably come south for something to do. So it might affect me a little bit. Wait and see, but yeah.
Interesting. Well, it's going to affect the economy and the supply chain, no doubt.
Yeah, because if they stop building cars, all that just-in-time freight that a lot of those van haulers and that do, it won't be there.
No,
but they might meet an agreement. So
we're
the space is what they say.
We're in such a weird economy right now. Some sort of a strike like that could really create a lot of havoc.
Yeah, so we shall see. So,
All right.
Right, I'll wave at Morgan as I go past her later today since she moved over to Texas.
There you go. That's right. All right. Good talking to
Okay.
you. Let's go to Mass. AJ, welcome.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. How are you today?
Good. We're looking at an oil sample.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a quick look. I've changed this oil
Let's see. What
for the
we
sole
got going
reason
on
that
here.
it was 11 on the silicon.
Okay, so
Went
this
from 5 to
engine's
9 a couple oil samples ago when I
this
did
engine's
the
got
overhead.
over 900,000, and the oil had 122,000 on it. Sound about right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I had no OPS on there. That's just Detroit's
Oh, got it. Okay.
own filtration system. So
Well, then you got your money's worth out of this oil, and it was time to change it.
she'll make sure there's nothing I want to pay attention to.
Well, I'm a little concerned with the wear metals. I would not push your oil out this far unless you get an OPS. You more than got your use out of this. I think we pushed it a little too far. Your wear metals are up there.
Okay.
The
That's what I
silicon
figured.
is
That's what I thought the answer was going to be.
partially to blame. We certainly went over 11 or over 10. We're at 11. Not a big deal. The good news is, I will tell you, the engine's performing really well. It's
Good.
tuned well.
Yeah,
it's
feels,
running well. Wait a minute. I do have another concern here. You're just using a straight 1540 conventional oil, right?
The T4.
T4, not T3. T4. I'm thinking of thyroid now. Can't mix up my thyroid. Yeah, can't mix up thyroid and oil samples. Boy, we'll get some goofy answers then. So T4 straight, 1540. Your viscosity has just been climbing the whole time, but I don't see why. I mean, you started at 14.3, and that's just about perfect for that oil. You ended up at 17.4. It went up every time, but I don't really see why it's going up. That's weird. I mean, there's no coolant. Coolant can do it. There's no soot. Soot could do it.
It's got is it anything to do with adding base?
Are you using, maybe, maybe if you added it, yeah, but your base isn't that high. You're back up to 5. That's not that high.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going on here. Are you using any kind of additives in the oil?
The oil, no, just adding that Hot Shot Secrets TBN booster.
Yeah, which is fine. Let's just keep an eye on this the next time. That's odd that the viscosity kept climbing like that. I'm glad you changed it. It was time to change it. I wouldn't push this past maybe without an OPS. I wouldn't go past 75,000. I don't think.
Okay, which probably makes sense. But that's what the manufacturers recommend right about that. So.
Yeah, and that's going to be about right.
All right. Sounds good. I keep sampling, so if I see that viscosity number change, I'll call, send it in, call back.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the call. Let's go to Virginia. Steve, welcome to the program.
Live like no one else today, so one day you can live like no one else.
I don't know why
That's
I
what
have
they
such a hard time remembering that. I always get the concept. I just can't ever remember the wording.
Right. You just have to put the emphasis on that second.
Live. Yeah. Now you get to live. That's right.
But ask me how I'm feeling. Better not deserve.
That's right.
We know Dave.
Yeah.
So. It's wonderful what your window deliverer there has done. I think it's fantastic what he's done. But there's one pitfall he really needs to know about. He's only 55 years old. He can't take any of that 401k money out until he's 59 and a half.
Yeah, that's right.
And he takes out, he'll pay taxes on plus a 10% penalty.
There is a way. I wouldn't want him to use it, but there is a way to amortize it, but you kind of lose control over your withdrawals after that. So he
can buy an annuity and he, at some point in his life he may need an annuity, but sounds like he's going to have a pension also. He may
be one of the people that if you bought the proper annuity, it might even make sense.
Well, single premium annuity, and if he's very, very good health and doesn't take the vaccine so he dies suddenly. But I have. But for somebody like him, I've got a guy for him. He needs a fee only planner is what he needs anyhow. But I've got the guy that he helps more people than anybody I've ever seen in the country to be able to retire at a young age. He would have him retired by 55 to 62, anytime, anywhere in that range, because he's the fee only planner. But he's adamant that people do work too long on average. They do work too long, and then they're not able to enjoy their retirement. And he says anybody that is in the kind of shape that this guy is, he would be able to do it. Go ahead, and I'll give you the guy's name so he can check him out. He's prolific on YouTube, but I use him as a fee only planner myself, even though I'm not retiring him.
Right. Well, that's what I was about to say.
I just love the guy.
His thought process doesn't take into account people like you and I that don't really want to do the traditional retirement where we work and then we I always wonder what this must feel like, and I will probably never experience it. I wonder what it's like to say, I just saw somebody the other day, a truck driver, who this was his last load. When he finishes this load, he gets home, he empties out the truck, and he goes home and he has no job. He's retiring. I can't imagine what that day would feel like. And I'll probably never experience
people like that die within a year.
I know.
Yeah, I see too many like that they have no purpose and they go downhill quickly. I'm not planning on doing that. I want to get from behind the wheel one day. That I'm looking to do, but I'll stay busy all my life, right up to the end. But I do want to be I'm financially secure now, but I want to be financially secure enough to travel, do things I want to do. But getting back to the gentleman there, a couple of things. He did say he had some rental property. He may very well, if he, I'm gonna put it out there. Let me put out there the fee only planner. He's fantastic. He's Heritage Wealth Planning is his YouTube channel, and it's Josh Scandlin, Scandlan.
I've seen prolific. His stuff.
Oh, Josh is fantastic.
Yep,
and
really good.
I've used him before.
Yeah, really good stuff.
He's a great guy. He's fee only, and he does specialize in the people that want to be able to retire younger. And he will go through everything with the gentleman. It's probably $1,000, thereabouts. It may be a little higher now. It's been 2 or 3 years, but it may be a little higher now. But that's he's not going to be taking money out of your nut every year. That out of that $2 million, he's not going to take 1% like a lot of them want to take out here. And so it's a fee only, and he will show you how to retire. And especially somebody that lives frugally, like the family of 6 does. Right. They live very frugally on $50,000. I can tell you, which is great. And so I think. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say that he's done such a fantastic job with his money. He's got a 401k. He's got a pension. He's got income producing properties, and he lives so frugally that he has every option just about in retirement. He's one of the few people that if he actually chose to, he could improve his lifestyle in retirement. I'm sure he won't. Most people that...
Oh, he will. Yeah, he will by a long shot. Right.
But this guy is perfect for him. It's worth it to pay somebody because he has so many options. Really, I wasn't even about to try to address him on the air, because I would want to see everything. I would want hard numbers. I would want time to think about it. I would want to see where he lives. And so to go, and honestly, he's only going to need to do it one time. He goes and pays one time. This guy could set him up for a plan that he probably wouldn't have to adjust much at all.
Oh, he would be able to set him up and then know what, like you said, he's going. First thing he's going to do, just like you said, as you can get the money out of the stock profit sharing stock.
That scared me.
Move it, diversify it, right, and get that moved. It sounds like he's probably with. I can think of the one he's probably. Now that being said, like we talked about the other day, at 55, if he started working when he was 18 to 20, he's probably got 35 good earning years. So he's not going to improve by working a lot longer.
Right.
His Social Security at age 67 a lot more than it is now. So he's in the catbird seat there also, because people that start working and making good money when they're young, like we talked about, the multipliers on that average wage index help a lot. So he's going to have, in today's dollars, he would probably be in that $2,500 a month range at 67 right now. But you got 10, 12 more years of inflation, so he'll be at 3,500 at that point, and he'd be 4,500 or 5,000 if he waited till 70. He doesn't need to.
No.
Josh Josh would show him what he could do at 62,
right?
What he could do at 67, and everything in between. Also, because this gentleman really doesn't need to work now. He needs to have a purpose. That's what would kill me. I couldn't go at 55 and not hit a leg. I spent the week last week at our condo at the beach, and I was there with all these folks that are retired, and they're happy retired, but they're happy just going fishing every day, and that's just not me.
This property that we just bought, I'm looking at it for a lot of things. I think even in this goofy market, it's a good investment. I think we got a bargain on this property because it's so unique. I'm looking at it because the world sucks these days, and there's just a lot of advantages to this property. But the biggest reason that I really want this property is the lifestyle itself. It will keep me active. It will give me lots of options on things I could do to stay active. Because I don't want to retire and think I'm going to go wing foiling every day. It's just... We all think that, oh my God, we'd have all this time. We can go do whatever. You start realizing how much time there is to fill in a day if you're not working. You need some sort of a purpose.
I know. Yeah. Exactly. You do. You definitely do. I could see your semi-retirement could be a very, very nice bed and breakfast that has a week-long health focus for whoever stays there. You cook their food, you show them everything, and you make a lot of money doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm renting a condo at the beach for better than $4,000 a week during the summer.
Right.
Month per week, and I'm not providing anything but a very nice place right over the water. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You would be providing a lot more value, and a lot of people in the tribe would love to go learn a week from you. Like that. And if you had a bed and breakfast and you had no more than 4 to 6 bedrooms, where you had 4 to 6 couples or whatever,
right?
I could see you doing that and still making a lot of money and enjoying a retirement, because that would be right down your alley. You'd have them out there showing them gardening things. I could see a big vision for you in that, and health, everything health.
And this property is that would perfect for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's for sure. I mean, we would come.
Yeah.
We would come, and you would have so many from the tribe here, and listeners that would come. Just to be able to get your spouse on board with everything.
You're right. Yeah. The other thing I'm really looking at is I love growing things and playing around with food, and I'm looking at this property and thinking, we're just going to build at some point fairly quickly, I think, we're going to build a commercial kitchen. And with a commercial kitchen, I could be producing products that we could sell in our store. And I may never take it past that. I think our tribe is enough to support me creating a product. And I want it to be really unique. Like I talked about the hot honey. I'm going to grow everything that goes in that hot honey. And as much as I can grow will be a batch. And when the batch is gone, you got to wait till next year.
So you could be the 21st century Mr. Kellogg, who had his spa up in Michigan, and had everybody coming in. Except you're not going to give them all the 10 coffee enemas.
Right. We're going to do it right. Yeah, we're not going to tell anybody that masturbation makes you blind.
I've read a few books on that guy. It was
I know he was a nut job.
But Josh Scanlon, Heritage Wealth Planning.
His is good
He's
stuff.
got hundreds and hundreds of YouTubes. It's good stuff. He's he's excellent at sharing spreadsheets and showing you what is on his YouTubes. I mean, there's so many things about him that's good.
Here's a number you'd be interested in. Man, I have a hard time with this, but the average monthly payment for new vehicles finance just hit another all-time high, $738. That's the average vehicle being financed right now. The average.
They'll never get that from me. I mean, I'm gonna pay cash for it. I buy one 2 or 3 years old, and I pay cash for them, and then I drive them. I drive them forever. I mean, I just don't. I don't see paying for depreciation, that quick depreciation. Learned that from Clark Howard years ago. Clark, has personal finance on the radio for years. Learned that from him before Dave Ramsey was on. So
Clark,
you never do that. Clark actually ran the numbers. If you buy a new car every 4 years, and then somebody else buys a used car 3 years old and drives it for 10 years, the difference in your lifetime is over $1 million difference.
Yes,
at $1 million, I could save more than that person.
People could retire on that one strategy alone.
That's it. Yeah.
That's insane to think that.
And I sent I sent my daughter up to college back in 2000 with that book, with Dave Ramsey's book, with The Millionaire Next Door. You remember that book?
Oh yeah.
And she and her husband, they actually lived. They lived that lifestyle. Now he's an excellent developer now. But they live that lifestyle. They are multimillionaires, and they still buy their cars 3 and 4 years old. They buy nice ones. They buy Range Rovers. They buy Escalades.
Right.
But they buy them. Yeah, they buy them. Still buy their cars that way. They buy boat. They bought a boat recently, but they bought it 3 or 4 years old. They don't need to pay a brand new boat. But they're able to do that kind of thing because they learned it along the way. We need to teach education to kids about financial education when they're young.
We absolutely do, because retiring wealthy is not difficult in this country. I made all kinds of mistakes early on. I think about this. I remember buying my first vehicle, when I got out of the Army and I bought a truck, and I'm an owner-operator and I got to go buy a new vehicle. I did not buy brand new, but I remember buying a minivan, and I remember sweating over the financing. I didn't have enough money down. I stretched. I spent way too much money when I didn't have any at all. And I think about that now, how backwards. Now I could go buy any vehicle they sell for cash, and I don't. I'm still driving an 07 FJ Cruiser because I like it. But why would I want anything other than that? And we have the Range Rover, but that's 5 years old now, and I can't see ever getting rid of that thing. That thing will probably last me the rest of my life. Yeah. So it's so backwards when we're young and we don't have the money, is when we're so bad at spending too much of it. And now I look back and think, why did I think I needed that vehicle? I could have bought a 3 or 4 year old vehicle for a third of that price.
Exactly. Yeah. But like I say, that's people do need to educate their kids if possible, and
they need to educate themselves first.
Schools. I mean, well, that's right. That's part of the problem. The baby boomers have always wanted everything right now.
Yep.
And we don't. we saved hard, and we put a ton down to buy the condo that we bought several months ago, and interest rates are a whole lot higher than I wanted to pay, but now they're 1.5% higher right now than they were 5 months ago.
Yes.
So we got in at the right time, and then at some point there will be some change that will bring us back down in that 5.5%. I'll refi and save $800 a month on the payment. But
there you go.
But there again, I've got it paying for itself too, so that works also. So,
all right.
But we appreciate you as usual.
Good stuff. Great advice on the videos. Go check that guy out. That is really good financial planning info, and all the videos are free as far as I know. There's a lot of good stuff there. Let's go to Texas this time. Tim, welcome to the program.
Hey, Kevin. Good to talk to you.
What's on your mind today?
I've been listening to you forever, but
Well, thank you.
I wanted to talk to you about the property you just bought,
Yeah.
because I did something similar. I'm only a year older than you, but I bought 25 acres or 24 acres and started a farm about 8 years ago.
Well, there you go. Good for you.
Yeah, but one thing I was going to mention, you said you wanted a rooster.
Yeah.
Unless you're planning on fertilizing the eggs and hatching them, you don't need a rooster.
You know,
The chickens will lay eggs. If you're just after eggs, they'll lay eggs.
Yeah, it's not. I'm going by what the owner of the property says, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing with chickens. I don't care if the eggs are fertilized or not. It wouldn't. I wouldn't mind actually hatching some. I mean, that might be fun. Wouldn't matter either way.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest thing these chickens are really kind of wild. I mean, once they come out of their coop, they have free reign out into the woods. They can go wherever they want.
Right.
And he's just saying they don't do well without a rooster. And the rooster got eaten by the coyote. It's kind of a wild environment.
Right.
We have panthers, we have coyotes, there's bear. We're in the national forest, and there really aren't any people. There are just a lot of animals. So the owner is just saying that the chickens always do better when they have a rooster.
Oh, okay. Another thing you might check into,
fertilized, because I asked that too. I'm like, well, wait a minute. If I have a rooster around, all the eggs are going to get fertilized. And he's like, yeah, it's no big deal. You eat them anyway.
Yeah. No, that doesn't make any difference. As long as you get them soon enough.
Believe it or not, I'm actually looking forward to a rooster waking me up at sunrise.
Right. They will do that.
Yeah.
As soon as little people light come through, they start doing their thing.
That's when I like to wake up. I used to wake up at that time every day without an alarm clock. And with all the sleep and my schedule, that's changed. I don't wake up early anymore, and I don't want to use an alarm clock. I know a rooster's kind of going to be like an alarm clock, but I don't know. It just feels more natural to me. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Right. I'll tell you another thing. If you never own chicken, they are pretty nasty animals. They will eat each other. If one gets sick, the other ones will eat it. They're kind of crazy.
I've heard that.
Yeah. But what we like better is ducks.
I was thinking about
they're
ducks.
better grazers.
Yeah.
The eggs are better.
I do love duck
and they're
eggs.
way easier to live with. Actually, they lay eggs more consistently than chickens do. A lot of people think chickens will lay an egg every day. Not necessarily. Sometimes they will and sometimes they won't, and then they all tend to molt at the same time. So you're going to end up, a month, 6 weeks without no eggs.
Right.
Whereas ducks, they don't go by the hours of daylight to molt.
Okay.
They go by their age. If you have them different ages, they'll molt at different times.
I might add some ducks.
So you always have eggs.
After I get used to the chickens, I might add some ducks. I have a good friend who has ducks, and he's in a neighborhood, and he's got ducks, and they do lay a lot of eggs, and I love duck eggs. So we might have to branch out into some ducks. I also want to look at weird stuff like guinea fowl.
Yeah, I don't care for guineas too much. I guess they're good with snakes, but
we don't have any snakes
noisy,
to worry about.
Well,
I have heard they're really noisy.
So are chickens, but
yeah, I've heard the guinea fowl are really.
Yeah.
I was looking at this place. We were kind of looking around. Where do you buy a rooster? And we found this place, and you can buy all kinds of birds. You can buy peacocks. You can buy pheasant.
Oh, yeah.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Actually, the ducks that we got are called Golden 300, I believe, and they're bred to lay eggs.
Huh.
So, they worked real good. Of course, the problem with anything like that is all the predators, everything like chicken and everything like that.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. We are.
So keeping them alive is a real pain. It's hard to do.
I'm trying to prepare Lisa, because I know she's going to get attached to these chickens. I think she already started to. She's learning their names. And I said, Lisa, you got to know, we're going to lose chickens. Don't get too attached to these. And it's hard. I mean, we both love animals. But I'm trying to tell her, we're going to lose chickens. We have so many predators out there. There's just no way around it.
Yep. Yep, no, and it's hard to deal with, especially with birds like that, because and especially if you got them, roaming around free.
They're
not going to last long.
Yeah, the coop opens and closes itself. It's all automated. Once they're out, they're out. I mean, their coop is not inside of any kind of a pen area. Once they're out, they're just out. They're out. They spend most of their time in the woods. They hang out right at the edge of the tree line.
Get a lot out of the woods.
Yeah.
Yep. But I mean, usually it's at night that the predators get them. But I've had them hawks come down to get my ducks in the middle of the day.
Yeah, I've only seen one fox here since we've been here, but I have to believe where we're going to, there's probably going to be a lot more.
Yeah. No, I was saying hawks. The bird, a hawk.
Oh, hawks. Yeah, we have plenty of that. We have lots of predator birds. We have osprey. We have tons of hawks. We have eagles.
All of them love chicken.
Yeah, they do. We also have something, and I haven't seen this yet, but the owner was telling me about it, nighthawks. And he says that they actually hunt bugs the way bats do. They use sonar. And he says you can watch these nighthawks. Cool. They'll be circling way up high. You'll hear them send out this little chirp like their sonar, and they'll pause. And he said then you'll just watch them. They drop like a rock. And then when they get to the bug, their wings go out. And he said the wingtips, the feathers on their wingtips, almost break the speed of sound. And he said this noise that it makes is just bizarre. I've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
But he says they sit out there at night.
Yeah, I'll tell you one of them.
Just watch them.
Right. Yeah, one of the things that we did get early on is A2 milk cows.
Oh, yeah. That'd be nice.
So we raise our own beef and have our own dairy, and I only have three milk cows, but I make my own cheese and
on 6 acres. I don't think I want to do cows. I thought about
that's a little bit small
for meat. I thought about doing something like emus or ostrich. I've eaten emu meat. You could swear it was beef. It's shocking.
Well, if
how
you
much
got
that
access
is like
to all
beef.
that forest. Yeah, if you have access to all that forest, you might be considered pigs.
Access to about 1 million acres of forest.
And the pigs find all kinds of stuff to eat back in there. They'll let you range them in there.
I don't know. I don't know that anybody would. If I could there's a couple other properties around. I'd have to make sure they didn't wander onto there. I'm thinking if anything along those lines, maybe some goats for milk because I like goats and they're easy. And then as far as meat goes, I mean, if it comes right down to it, I'd just rather go shoot an elk or two a year. Or an elk and a deer and a turkey or two. I mean, I've got so much wildlife out there. Why bother raising it when I can let the forest raise it for me?
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Can't get any better meat than that. I mean, that's as natural as we're going to get.
Right. Yeah, because we've been in a drought for the last 2 summers, and I mean, it looks like West Texas over here. It's just everything is dead. All the grass.
The beauty of this area,
it's tough, man.
The beauty of this area is we have crazy water tables. I mean, we're on a well. We've got creeks and rivers, and we have more water than we know what to do with. And the whole trick to gardening around here, we have beautiful summer weather. Mid-80s, low humidity, sunshine all day, every day. All we need is water. The more you water stuff around here, the more it grows. And being on a well with all that water at no cost is a huge advantage.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm on a well too, and I irrigate. Like when we're in a drought like this, I irrigate about 4 acres just so that the cows have something to eat.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Tim, great stuff. Appreciate the advice. I'm a newbie at this. But I'm kind of excited about it. Let's go to Michigan. Michael, welcome.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you for taking my call.
What's on your mind today?
Before I get to my question, I'd like to let you know about roosters that I would also like them to wake me up in the morning, but I call them alert roosters. They tend to make that noise throughout the day.
So it's a constant thing, huh?
It is. And they're really good with the hens, telling them when there's a big bird in the sky.
Oh, okay.
They all take cover underneath trees.
I think that's what the owner is
So
saying, that they just don't do well without having a rooster there.
I would agree. So my question for you today is, I want your opinion on the best way of moving retirement money to the S&P 500. I'm a 32-year-old. I have a 401k with my current employer. I have a Roth IRA.
Congratulations.
And IRA.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And boy, do you have time. Time is on your side.
Yes.
Yep. It's I when I used to do, direct financial planning with people, I used to tell them, I can show you everything. The one thing I can't change is time. And it's the single most important thing when it comes to investing. If you start early enough, it's really easy. You can make all kinds of mistakes and it's not a big deal and you're going to be fine. The people that wait till their 40s or 50s, it's the opposite. You can do everything perfect at that point and still not have enough money.
Yes, I've heard stories, and I know some people that actually have done that.
Yeah, so you've done the most important thing, which is you've started early. So now you want to start moving some money into the S&P 500. Where is that money currently?
So my IRA and my Roth are at the same wealth management, let's call it, accounting person that I go through, and I plan on speaking to them sometime this week just to go over numbers. And I wanted your opinion if I should leave it there and tell them put more towards the S&P 500, or is there another way of myself taking care of this?
Yeah, you can take care of this. So this sounds like it's actively managed, is that these accounts are actively managed by this wealth management company, right?
Yes.
So they're giving you advice on your investments. Like if I go to a mutual fund company directly and I want to open an IRA, I can do that. You get no advice from them. I mean, the only questions they're going to answer is about the account and administration. They don't give investment advice. But you're with somebody who is actively giving you advice on where this money should go. Whether or not you should start to liquidate some of that and move it in, or whether you should just make your new investment the S&P, I don't know because I can't see what you've got. I mean, I don't know what their strategies are, what they have you invested in. Here's the thing to remember. The hedge funds, when we talk about hedge funds like BlackRock, and, they've been in the news a lot lately, these are supposedly the best and brightest of all money managers. When you make it to the hedge fund level, we're talking billions of dollars now. And these people earn incredible amounts of money to run these hedge funds. I just talked about this the other day. They did a long comparison over 10 years of hedge funds against the S&P 500. And I forget how many hedge funds they had, but there was quite a few. It was a pretty big group of them. Of all of these hedge funds who supposedly have the best money managers on the planet, only one of them beat the S&P 500. Only one. And these guys are bringing in the big bucks. They get paid more than just about anybody. And yet, they're not even average when it comes to their investment advice. All the people paying them the big dollars to manage their money would have been better off if every penny they had was just in the S&P 500. So with a record like that, how can you ever argue that I should be paying somebody to manage my money? Where I see their advice comes in is not so much picking your individual investments. These kinds of companies, I think, are better for like you if we use them right, and the last caller, where they're just there to look at the whole big picture and give you advice like, look, if you stay on this track with this account, you're going to be able to take this much out at retirement. honestly, if he would have had a full-time money manager, kind of the way you do, and they allowed him to end up with $800,000 in one company stock, they would have been fired in a heartbeat. So that's really where I would use money managers. It is just really to look at the big picture. But when you look at the record, I just don't know how we would want to pay somebody to make our decisions on like which mutual fund to be in, because they don't do very well. They never have.
Absolutely.
So I think you can actually do a better job than they can of just. So I would be aggressive at moving that money into the S&P 500, no matter where they have it. I said I don't know where they have it, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. I doubt that they're any better at beating the S&P 500 than anybody else is.
Yes. So with the 401k, should I advise them to put more towards S&P 500?
I would. I mean, again, I'm not looking at the numbers, but I could see being as aggressive as taking half of what you already have and moving it into the S&P, and then all new investment going into the S&P for a while.
Thank you. All right, Kevin, that answers my question. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for the call. All right, let's see what else we got today. We're going to go to New Hampshire. Derek, welcome.
How you doing there, Kevin?
Good. What's on your mind today?
I was calling about your rooster and all that. If you go on McMurray Hatchery, you can look it up, Google it. They'll send you a catalog. You can get any kind of chicken you want out of them. They mail them right to your post office and you pick them up.
Somebody told Lisa this the other day, and her response was, "Oh hell no, I'm
awesome.
not." Her response was, "Oh hell no, I'm not having somebody send me a chicken through the mail."
They all come and you buy them like in the, I don't know, you have to buy a certain amount of them, but they come in like a little cardboard box with holes in them.
Really?
And you just pick them up. And then
That's wild.
Yeah. Actually, really, you can get all your everything you need for chickens out of that magazine. They have the feeders, the waterers. And
somebody else gave her
you want to go with
two other hatcheries and said the same thing. You just go look and order them and they ship them to you. That's where we found out you could buy pheasants and guinea fowl and peacocks and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah. They've been doing that for like 100 years or so. Murray has it. And I think they're out around you somewhere.
Oh, really?
But
okay.
Yeah, you order them, and I think like 2 days later you have them there at the house.
That's crazy.
And with guinea hens are awesome. The thing with the guinea hens, you got to buy them when they're chicks, and you want to keep them like in a containment area for a few weeks till they get big enough where they can go out on their own. That way they always stay in the property.
Okay.
But they're the best guard dog that you can buy.
Really?
Because if anybody strange comes on your property, you're going to know it because they are loud, and you won't have one tick. You won't find a tick if you search for one after you put guinea hens on your property.
Really?
They're the best tick-eating machine that you'll ever find. Yep. One bird will do an acre of land. They'll take the ticks out. You gotta buy them in like 5 or 6 at a whack because they stay in pods.
Okay.
They're like the weirdest thing. Like when you grow them, when they hatch out, there'll be probably like 18. When they hatch out a lot of them. But when they hatch, like say out of 18 birds, 6 of them will stay in one pod, 3 might stay in another pod, and they just roam around. They'll nest up in a tree at nighttime.
Oh, I was just going to ask.
They do eat snakes.
Do I need a coop for these birds?
Nope.
No coop.
Just, all you need is in the beginning is something to keep them, when they're small, so they know like where you're feeding them from.
That's
so
easy.
So they get big enough where they have their feathers.
Yeah, we have several. There's 2 gardens. Both of those are completely fenced in to keep the elk out, including electric fencing. That's how aggressive the elk are. So that'd be easy to keep contained for a little while. If I didn't need coop, that'd be awesome. Is there any issue with trying to keep traditional chickens and guinea fowl on the property together?
No, they're all ducks.
They'll do fine.
Ducks, chickens, guineas, they all got it. Everything will be fine.
Well, I think
with the chickens, you want to go with a real dark color, like a black color, because the predators don't see the black chickens as good as they do the lighter colored ones.
We've got 9 right now, and there's a mix. There's everything from white all the way to black. We've got a little bit of everything right now.
Yep. And if you get yourself some of those, the plastic gallon, like the water jugs, like you see at the supermarket, they put the gallon of milk in.
Yeah.
You can get a few of those. Those make great nests.
Huh. Okay. We've got a nice, hot, really, really nice coop for the chickens now. I mean, the It's all hand.
Chickens.
Yeah, hand built. It looks like a little cottage with cedar siding and automatic doors, automatic feeders. It's just really, the guy built it all by hand. It's a beautiful coop.
Yeah, the automatic water thing's awesome. I bought that out of McMurray, but they have everything you need. They have incubators in there. And
I'm kind of
anything that has to do with poultry is in the book.
I think I'm going to have to get some guinea fowl. I like everything I'm hearing about them.
Oh, they were the best. My wife didn't like them because they were noisy, but I'm telling you what, anybody strange comes in your yard, you're going to know it.
Yeah, which is
they're very alert.
Yeah, no, and the tick thing. I worry about the ticks with Diesel.
Oh yeah, you won't.
Honestly, anymore when you find out there are ticks that cause you to be allergic to meat. Hell, I worry about ticks for myself now.
Well, in New Hampshire, we have a bad outbreak with them. It's killing the moose and everything.
Yeah.
So we were getting them left and right, the dogs and everything. So I had let them out loose. And my neighbor came over like 2 weeks later. He goes, "Hey, have you noticed we haven't had any ticks? Kind of weird. Because I've pulling ticks off my dog like every day." Like, yeah, I said, I let my guinea hens loose. He's like, "What's a guinea hen?" I said, "It's kind of that ugly looking bird over there." I said, "They're tick magnets." I don't know why, the state doesn't let them loose, like out in the forest, just to take care, manage the tick problem.
So
they are awesome. They'll actually jump out of the sky and take a hornet out of the sky.
Really?
They're really good with insects.
Is a guinea fowl or a guinea hen similar to a Cornish hen?
Yes, kind of. Okay. It's kind of in between like a Cornish hen and like a pheasant. It has like almost has like a buzzard's head to it, and you can get them in different colors. They come in purple, white.
All right, looks like I'm going to be.
I think 5 or 6 different colors they come in.
Looks like I'm going to be shopping for guinea fowl now.
And if you get into it enough, because they do hatch out a lot, you can get $6 to $7 for a chick for those things.
Huh. All right.
Also, I don't know if you guys have Tractor Supplies out around here, but every Sunday, the last Sunday of every month, they do a poultry swap. If you're looking for a rooster right away.
Oh, really?
People bring in their poultry and sell. Yes. Yep.
Huh.
But go get that magazine there from McMurray. Just go online and they'll ship right to your house. And it takes like a week or two for you to get it. But they have every bird you can think of in there. Guinea hens, pheasant.
All right.
You name it's in that book.
Interesting.
But yeah,
right.
You'll like the guinea hens. They're kind of fun to watch.
I think I'm going to have to get some of those.
Yep. Cool.
Sounds
Just
good.
Give you some info. And keep your water. Your water is off the ground. It's better for the birds.
Say that again.
Keep your watering troughs.
Yeah.
If you have like an automatic watering or a bucket that you want to keep them off the ground like 6 inches, because it makes the bird digest better. And you also want to throw out some calcium shells. That makes your eggs the shell for the egg hotter. It's good for their digestion.
Perfect. All right. Good.
I'll send you my phone number.
Yeah, I'll send
you my phone number on the on Twitter or X or whatever it is now. So if you have any questions, you can call me.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Boy, this show is more about me getting advice than giving advice. Kind of like that, though. Learning a lot quickly. All right. I think I'm going to wrap this up for today. We're right at the 2-hour mark. I got lots to do, so I think my days are going to be a little shorter. I might be taking some Mondays or Fridays off for probably the foreseeable future. I may try to do some recorded time. If I can find time during the days I'm going to work, maybe I'll try to do a recorded call or a recorded show for the days I'm off. We'll see. We'll see you back here tomorrow for the Power Hour. Be safe, be profitable, be fit and healthy. Always do the hard work and master the journey.